So welcome.
Thank you. Good to
Uh,
be here. Good to
and
see you.
thank you, everyone who's in the chat, for sticking with us through that little technical difficulty. Um, um, and I'm going to now, because we are fancy here, and I just to prove that I can, uh, I'm going to add. I'm going to tempt fate, and I'm going to add an overlay. No, I did. I ruined it. I picked the wrong thing. Okay, no, I flew too close to the sun. Um, and and instead, wait, I can fix it. That's my old overlay from years ago. Uh, boop boop boop. I can feel Chris losing respect for me every
No,
every
you're doing
second
better than I would do.
every second that
Tech is
passes.
not my forte. Trust me.
See, you know what happened, everyone? Do you remember when I said, "Hey, we're doing so well this year. I'm so good at OBS now." Um, and then all this happened. Um, yeah, that's what you get when you pretend that you are good at a thing. You're punished. You're punished by, oh, Jesus. Um, eh. Okay, you know what? This is good enough. I was gonna throw our overlay behind us, um, but I am realizing that attempting to achieve that is just foolishness. So welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
I'm going to uh, briefly move this over. I'm going to get access to my chat. Um, you know what? I'm going to undo that because it goofed things up. And then going to get access to my chat here. And everyone who you don't know, Chris here is one of the powers behind the fabulous Wormwood Gaming, who has uh, come in, uh, like monsters to support Worldbuilders over the last several years, um, and who I've just also personally had a huge creative crush on everything Wormwood does for a long time before that. So, um, welcome, Chris. Do you want to talk a little bit about Wormwood just to start off?
Yeah, sure. For those who don't know us, Wormwood is a company that makes luxury wooden. It's becoming more and more accessible, I guess. We used to say luxury gaming goods, and they were like the higher priced boxes for your Magic deck and for your dice. And we've grown so much that we're really kind of capturing everybody that games um, as a customer, which is great. So we do boxes for dice. We call them dice vaults. The original dice vault was our product on Kickstarter. We do tabletop dice trays. We do furniture is something that we just launched 3 years ago, and that's been going very well. We just did a table Kickstarter this year, which was extremely successful. We ended up at 8.8 million, and that ended up being the number 10 most funded Kickstarter of all time, and number 3 in the games category. So we have been around for about 8 years, I want to say 7 or 8 years. I'd have to look, but it's been a very fast growing company, and things are going very well. We just had a very busy Black Friday weekend. The all of the owners were here on the weekend in the shipping department just to make sure we kept up on orders, and it ran very smoothly. So we're very excited about how things are going and how things continue to go.
Yeah, the um, you blew the doors off with that Kickstarter, and so what I'm doing now, or the most recent one especially, And so what I'm doing now, because I cannot help but like wanting, I've been dying to show this off on the page,
Mm.
is the build your table thing. So everybody, if you're wondering like how on earth did they have a Kickstarter so successful, let me show it you. And here's the page. And so what you have here is, again, beautiful wormwood table. It's got the vault underneath, which means there's a recessed gaming evil. And just so you know, Chris, although
Mm.
here, maybe I think I can show off the table and keep us on here at the same time. I think by, I'm going to just move us slightly. Do. And that way you'll be able to see us and the beautiful modular table website at the same time. And then here, let's scroll this a little bit. And make it a little bit smaller so it'll fit. So it'll fit in frame. So everybody, here you see this beautiful table, right? And I think right now this is a beautiful maple, and it has the recessed gaming area, which I'm sure all of you know. You can put a topper on this table, and so, for example, here is a table where this is just a beautiful dining room table, and it's made out of real wood. It's put together like in a way that this thing is going to last your family 100 years. And which is also, and also it's honestly a joy to touch like this furniture. Not to get weird about it, but like Chris knows, I would swing by their booth at a convention and just touch the tables. I'm making a joke here, but also I'm not joking. I would just keep going over and touching these tables. And so here is this table. It's a maple base, and it has this topper. You can pull the topper off, and as soon as you pull the topper off, there's your game space. So you can be playing a game, and you're like, oh, dinner time. And then there you go. Have dinner on top of that. Come back to your game later. Or if you're like me, you're like, oh, I'm playing a game. Whoop, halfway through the game. Actually, now I'm going to play another game on top. But what you can do is you can change all of these different aspects of it. And I worry a little bit that I've screwed up the aspect ratio by squinching the window in the wrong way.
It looks pretty close.
It looks reason.
Yeah,
I mean, it's no. I know that I have. See, yeah, I did that thing, and so you know what? I'm going to just put it back. This is the proper aspect ratio. You're like, why was that such a tall table? No, that was me. So
we do offer that if somebody wants a taller table.
well, and that's just it. Let's just click that button. What if you do want a very tall table? Like that is an option.
Yeah, and it may not show in that picture. So the bar height and the counter height tables were a late addition to the Kickstarter. So it may not translate in the main picture, but I believe if you look a little bit below that main picture, I believe the other photos that show up in the gallery do end up showing the table with longer legs.
Yeah. What I'm doing right now is I'm gonna, no, that's wrong. Is it this?
So we call this our virtual showroom. So that way anybody can play around with the different options on the wood types and the vault size, the leg size, and really determine, what is the table that you want to see in your game room or dining room.
Yeah, and you know what? Because I've screwed up the aspect ratio on this like 4 times. I'm gonna just quick do a new window capture, grabbing a new Chrome browser so that I can get rid of this one, which makes your beautiful tables look a little bit like they're in a funhouse mirror. There we go. And so now here, here you can see what's going on. And you can make this for example, coffee table height. Or you can actually choose like a coffee table size. And then you're like, well, okay. So the Lilliput is the traditional coffee table size. It's like, it's sort of rectangular, small, and it comes with, and then you make sure you have coffee table height legs on it. But then once you've chosen that, you close that option and you're like, but actually I want black walnut for the body of it. And you're like, and actually for the felt inside, I would like some burgundy felt. And then you're like, and for my topper, I could do a black walnut topper too, but what if I want sort of this cherry wood? Like that matches kind of a dark espresso maple. That looks nice. Like, guys, I have spent hours looking at different table types. This is nuts. So, for example, you can also, like, let's take this in a different direction. How about just, a more traditional square dining room table? You have a smaller place, but you actually want a dining room table. You choose that one. And then you're like, thank you. I would love just regular dining room table height. And then you're like, here's, it's like, I love the black walnut, but, I think instead I want, this, it's like, it's a little spendy for me. So then you're like, how about just maple? And then you're like, oh, wait, I can still get dark wood. And this is like espresso maple. It's like, ooh, that still looks dark and beautiful. And then for the topper, we go in and we make like Paduke, which is a wood that I've never even heard of before, but that fancy, or Purple Heart. Okay, no, like, and now it is
I love that combination. I love the combination of the dark wood with the red topper.
Yeah.
You have like a Wenge or an espresso maple, and then you put the Paduke topper on it. I think that looks really nice.
Yeah.
Most people want the matching wood types. Almost every order that we've seen, even with our, with like our dice towers, people usually get the dice tower to match the personal tray, so it all fits together and it all matches. But I love when I see people get like something contrasting, when it's like spalted tamarind inside of like a Wenge personal tray, or something that really like pops. I think that looks really good.
It is. And like just the ability to come in here and look at different options. And and it looks like you've added the Tavern Elm more recently.
Yes.
So it's not going to show the topper yet. But again, you're like, what does it look like with a light top, dark base? And then you're like, well, what about dark top, light base, and you're like, is this going to work better? Whoopsie. Uh, is that what I want? Well, maybe not that light. What about the cherry wood? Ooh, the cherry wood looks good. I have to keep remembering that I am streaming and not just looking at furniture porn. Also, I've never tried the roll the dice option, which is so
Oh yeah,
clever. Can I just push this?
do it.
There we go. Like, that looks good. That random assignment of things. It's like that's walnut and the maple underneath, and it looks so good. Um, but but wait, everyone, there's more. Instead of the small vault, like you can get a more traditional sort of rectangular dining room table, or like a super long one, or like this wargaming option. What? How is the? It's even wider.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's the one option that gets wider so that we could accommodate for wargamers. So it is kind of its own sort of
Yeah.
its own model. All of the others, it really basically change in one dimension. But the wargaming table we had to kind of especially make.
Yep. So like again, this medium table is what I've always thought of as a big dining room table.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean that's the one I want to get is the medium table. I think that fits perfectly in like me and my wife's dining space.
yeah. Now here's somebody saying over here, it's like, oh man, I'm going to buy a table during this stream, aren't I? You know, I don't want to stop you from shopping at Wormwood, but like, why am I having Chris here to talk right now? It's because like in the last couple of years, they've donated their sort of their initial launch of gaming table, which was the Prophecy, which I actually own in my basement. My boys refer to it as their little brother. We play Dwarven Forge on it. The boys show everyone who comes into the house, which these days, admittedly, is not many people. They take them to it and show them how it cranks up and down. It's this beautiful table. You've donated those to us in the past, but this year I was really excited to show off this modular thing because I know a lot of people, and I've heard it over the years. They're like, I'm so excited. Like, that's such a beautiful table. And of course they want to win it, but at the same time, they're like, then all I need, I had one person say, great, if I win that, I just need a castle to put it in. There's no room in my house where I could fit this beautiful, huge table. And so it was sort of like, in some like charity raffles or whatever, they say like, yeah, you can win, you can win a Ferrari. And people are like, yay. And they win a Ferrari. It's like, cool. Now pay like
X amount for insurance.
$28,000 for insurance
Right.
and whatever. And it ruins the person. They're like, oh no, this is the worst thing that I've ever won. My dream is a nightmare. But now, so we've talked and we've kind of gone back and forth. Do you want to talk a little bit about what we decided to go with
Yeah.
for this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you were saying, we historically have donated a Prophecy, which is really our it's our flagship. It's the first table that we did launch when we first launched furniture. And as you know, it's a gorgeous piece of furniture. It's the nicest gaming table on the market. Um, and with the launch of the modular gaming Kickstarter this year, and with the sort of transition for the company into becoming even more of a furniture company, we really wanted to highlight the new product. And we've decided that for the modular table, if we're gonna donate a modular table to Worldbuilders, then what we really want to do is highlight the modularity of it. Like we really want to show that this can be whatever size you need it to be. So if, for example, if you were to buy a coffee table, let's say, and then a couple years down the road you move out of your apartment and move into a house, and now it's like, wow, I actually could go for a gaming table, a legit gaming dining table, as opposed to a gaming coffee table. You only need to order replacement parts in order to make that coffee table into a larger table, as opposed to buying a whole new table. So to highlight that, we wanted to donate 3 modular tables to World Builders for your end of year fundraiser. So we're going to be donating a coffee table. We'll be donating a small dining room table, and we'll be donating a medium dining room table, all in different woods, so that you can see the variety. And we're excited to be a part of it again. We're looking forward to seeing how it goes.
And yeah, so just so everyone knows, um, and again, I gotta say this as credit to Wormwood. And here it begins the real gush. If you thought I've been gushy about Wormwood so far, um, you know, um, I I reached I thought that I emailed them a month ago, uh, and it turns out I wrote a draft of an email, which then sat in my email, and so and I'm like, you know what? I get it. They got to be busy. Everyone's on fire. It's the pandemic. There's the election. But like about it was it a week ago? Like maybe a
So
week
yeah,
ago, I'm like, you know what? I'll ping him just in case because I loved being able to show off that table. It was such a get for us for world builders. Um and um and so I'm like, I'll reach out one more time. Hopefully, I'm not being naggy or grasping. And then I go into my email to like find the address, and I'm like, oh, there's the one that I thought that I sent a month ago. Um, oh, also, he emailed me 2 months ago, and that went into my spam. Great,
I
great.
just figured, oh, he's busy. 2020 pandemic. We'll
And
get a hold of each other at some point.
and so I started to type up a long email that was effectively like, I'm the worst at everything. And then I'm like, I sent him a text and said, doing a little briefer, I'm like, oh my God, I've kind of screwed some things up. Do you have
No
time to
problem.
talk? And that very same day, we hopped on a Skype call. And so, like, in the last week, Chris and Wormwood as a whole have agreed to come in and not just donate one table like they have in previous years, 3 tables. And so what we'll probably do is like show off kind of and that's why like we have some pictures, but I don't have like a ton of pictures for you yet. Those are coming, and we'll show these off in some fancy graphics. But uh but what they'll be is like coffee table, made out of certain woods. The small table, which to me, I mean, I suppose it's about as small as you would do for a dining room table. And then the medium, which is to me the only sensible size for a dining room table, unless you are a Viking, um, and you are trying to kit out your mead hall. Which again, I'm not yucking anyone's yum. Live your Viking lifestyle, um, but you will win that table or its modular equivalent cash value, um, and with some of the accessories that make this cool. And we haven't even started talking about the accessories. And so what that'll be is like you're like, oh man, I won the Wormwood coffee table, and you're like, actually, I have Mima's old coffee table. My mom would cut me out her will if I put that in the basement. Like I got to use Mima's coffee table. And you're like, well, cool. All you have to do is shift things around, and for the same amount of money,
Yeah.
you can get a dining room table in various woods. And I mean, I we haven't said it specifically, but I'm assuming it's cool, Chris, if they win, say, the coffee table that's or the equivalent of a $1,500 modular, um, or if they're like, but I gotta get that purple heart, and then you're like, you'll let them like it effectively, then it becomes like credit, and they can pay
Yeah,
over that.
exactly. If the particular table that we and I know you don't have photos yet, but we will get those sent. And when that's on the website, if somebody, for example, won a Paduke media, I think we're doing a small dining table in Paduke, and they win that, and they're excited because they won a beautiful table by Wormwood, but they're like, I don't really love the red color of the Paduke. We will absolutely instead just do the basically the equivalent in credit toward any other table that they want to do. So that way, if it's a different wood type that you want, or you want to, if you want to get like a lower priced one, but then add some extra accessories, or however you want to work it, will happily be flexible like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, I thought, how could we possibly do better than this beautiful table? The table of my heart. Uh, and but I honestly think this is better. Not only do you have 3 different chances to win these tables, but like you get to make the table that fits best in your house, that fits your aesthetic the most, that fills your needs the most. You get to make the table of your heart. And again, it's so kind and it's so lovely. And again, for every $10 you kick in, and this is additionally, this is the great part. Wormwood doesn't have a team page. This is part of the general prize draw. So if you donate on any team page or just in the general thing, the general whatever, you are eligible for all 3 of these tables. Now, if you want, you can opt out of that, in which case, like, you're like, boy, I've got so many tables in my life. I mean, I wish I were you. But like anywhere you donate at Worldbuilders, like here on my streaming page, so you're eligible for like all of the extra stuff that I'm offering up, like on my team page. Or if you're donating, you want to donate on Oots Cow Jar because that makes you happy inside. Or Tristan's page because you want to like be a part of that, or or the True Dungeon page because you're like, give me them Worldbuilders exclusive tokens. That's cool because no matter where you put your money, you're still in the running for these tables. So yeah, and like I kind of want to keep going on about that, but also here's something that I kind of meant to lead off with, but we had a bit of a janky start because of technical issues.
No problem.
First off, welcome and thanks for willing to be on the stream. That's how I meant to start. And I'd like to say, I kind of want to tell the story of like how my table got delivered. Can I?
Sure, yeah.
Can I tell that story?
Of course, yeah.
I actually have been meaning to write it up in a blog, but like for me, writing a blog just takes a while.
Sure.
And so, actually, hey, my mods, I'm gonna, could in the list of stuff that you're pulling aside from me, could you also, like, when I do post up like sort of the more substantial, hey, we're doing a fundraiser blog, can somebody include not just some of the pictures, but I do want to include the link to this modular system on that blog. So can somebody say, ooh, this is one of those resources Pat wants to set aside for the blog so that everyone can access it on his webpage. So again, after years, I had put in like my money to reserve a place in the production schedule for the prophecy. And then because I was getting a table, I got another table too, because
Because 2 is better than 1.
Because 2 is better than 1. It's mathematical truth. And also I was figuring they're bringing it out here, like let's just do that. And so I was off doing something else, and I had a friend here kind of keeping an eye on things, because for those tables, when they get delivered, like these are pieces of furniture that will literally, when people say heirloom furniture, what they mean is like, this is not something that like, if you have to move it, it will break, or if you take it apart, it will break. Like anyone who's made an IKEA anything. You're like, yay, I made it. It was easy. It's beautiful. Now I have a shelf. But then you try to unscrew it later and you're like, oh no, like,
There goes my shelf.
oh no, it's
Yeah.
now it is a fond memory and sawdust and not even firewood. Whereas this stuff is meant to be put together and last forever, but also you can take it apart if you need to move it. And it's just like, I can't, if you've never touched one of these tables, they're so solidly constructed. They're so satisfying. I really, you're going to be hearing a lot about these tables. But also I had to go to a meeting. So I left, I went to a meeting. I had somebody here to meet the delivery person. And then I tied up all my stuff and I came back and the person who was helping is like, okay, now don't freak out. And I'm like, what? What do you mean don't freak out? And they're like, well, there was a little damage to the table when they put it together. And first off, I will say, to me, saying, okay, don't freak out isn't a bad way to start the conversation, because they know I've been excited about this table for like multiple years, or at least in my heart, it felt like multiple years. And I will also say, when I put my money down, the only reason I didn't get it sooner is I was like still like desperately trying to construct my favorite. How do I want to put the felts and everything together? What wood do I want? I went with the rosewood, because like,
That's the one you got to see at the convention.
that's the one I got
too.
to see. That's again, it's the table of my heart. And so, like when it gets there and it's like there was some damage when they put it together, and I was, I'll be honest, I was angry. I was angry, like physically angry. Not proud of that. But it was mostly, it wasn't like, certainly not anger at Wormwood, because Wormwood would contract with people to bring this table out and put it together. And they had, and they had never had anyone in this area to bring a table to before. So they went out, they did their research, they found people who could move it, people who could assemble it. And, and it was their first try with those people. And they came out, one upstairs, easy peasy, perfect. The one downstairs, and again, to stress, the damage was that when it got screwed together in the bottom, the head of the screw, like, came up about a little more than 1/8 of an inch up through the top of the table. So, like, I'm copping to my absolute first world bullshit here. But also, like, this is like maybe the first nice thing I've actually bought for myself in my whole life. And I've been looking forward to it. And then, like, I'm like, oh man. And it's not even like, and it was just like the person who was doing it didn't do a pretty simple job as well as he should have been able to. And so, like, the thing is, I've been going to therapy. I have tools, for dealing with my anger. And so I got over it. And it was just really at whoever this guy was that really didn't pay attention as well as he should have. It also helped in some ways that, like, my friend who was helping and was there when it happened, they were scared. They were like, oh, like, what? Like, I was here when should I have been more careful? Should I? And I'm like, oh God, they're really worried that I'm going to just go off like a bomb. Maybe this means I need to really fucking chill out. And so again, I was like, it's fine. And I know there will be a way to fix this. And here's the amazing story. And here's why I'm telling it. Because the truth is, like, y'all live in the world. What do we know about the world? Shit goes wrong. Like what has 2020 taught us? Everything goes wrong. Like, we have no control. And like, it just is a statistical inevitability that no matter how good you are at your job, occasionally you're going to goof it. Doesn't matter how good a copy editor you are, a typo will end up in the finished product. Doesn't matter how good you are making pizzas or whatever. It's like you will, at some point, you'll be tired or you won't pay attention and you'll put onion on it even though the person said no onion. And even though that's a small thing, that person's dinner is ruined. And so what happened is I'm like, that's fine. It's a tiny thing. I'm still excited to have the table. And I'm so busy. I'll get back to Worldbuilders later, get back to Wormwood later. And instead what happened is the person who delivered the table contacted another person, like the middle person, the distributor, who then contacted Wormwood. And I think you guys called me that day. Like, and I was like, in a couple of days, I'll write up an email or I'll do whatever. But like Wormwood called me that day and they're like, we want to bring out somebody who specializes in woodwork to look at this. Can they do that? We've already found several people. They're ready to come and look at your table right now. Now this was one step away from someone from Worldbuilders headquarters hopping into a James Bond style personal jet and flying directly to my house. They had already found somebody who specialized in like furniture restoration living in my town and gotten them queued up to make a house call. Now, all of this is pre-COVID also, just to make it clear. And so this dude showed, and I'm like, wow, okay. And they're like, no, we're so sorry. We're finding out what went wrong. We want somebody to come in and take pictures. We're going to make this right. And I'm like, no, that's cool. Like, thank you. But like, I knew you would. You guys are cool. I know you're good for it. And they're like, but no, seriously though, let's get this guy in there. We want to figure this out. And so like at my soonest opportunity, this guy came in and it turns out I knew him from 5 years ago. He runs the best antique and furniture restoration store in town. And years ago, I had met him and I had talked to him and I admired his furniture. So like the person they found was baller, right? And the person showed up and he makes and restores like old heirloom furniture. And he came out and he was like, and instantly I feel like very guilty. And I'm like, because the problem here again, tiny flaw in the wood. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of, I feel bad you coming out here at all. And he's like, oh no. He goes, you get something nice. You really want it to be perfect. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of would. And then he looks at it, but, and here's what happens. So first off, they find the perfect person. They get there immediately. And then all this guy wants to do is talk about how awesome this table is. And he's like, I've never seen something like this. He's like, this joinery is great. This topper, is this rosewood? I'm like, it is rosewood. And they're like, the angles on this are really beautiful. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, this thing is solid. Like, people make furniture like this now? And like, again, this is his whole life, is he restores beautiful antique furniture. And I'm like, but wait, there's more. Look at I have a crank. It'll raise and lower it. Look, the felt will flip. Look, it's like, there's a secret compartment in this table you don't even know yet. And he was just like, I had no idea. Like, I didn't think people were making furniture like this anymore. And, and so, right. Like this guy was like, he's like, no, he goes, I would be happy to repair something. He goes, but I can now vouch for you that like this piece, it's damaged. He goes, I could press it down. I could do a thing. I could do whatever and put a little putty in there so it'd be smooth. He goes, you got this beautiful Bolivian rosewood table. He's like, you don't want a little shitty patch job there. And I'm like, okay, thank you for saying that my feelings are valid. And he's like, no, I restore stuff. You want it to be really nice. That's why you have nice furniture. And then, and so he left, he reported back. And I will say, it wasn't that Wormwood was questioning it. It's that the people who delivered the table, they're like, it's fine. You're just some putty. And and so this guy's like, nah,
Yeah.
not legit. And um and then like I'm like, hey, could we just replace this piece? And Wormwood immediately is like, yes. Do you want, like, how about in 3 weeks? We can have a person out there in 3 weeks. How about, again, one step away from like, somebody's already in a helicopter, Mr. Rothfuss. Like, don't worry. Our table triage team is already on the way. And they like drop in from the ceiling on wires. Um, it was, I have seen good customer service. And at Worldbuilders, we have an online store. We, you know, I have always said, like, if anyone complains, we do whatever it takes to make them happy and make sure that they feel good afterwards. If there was a mistake, and even if it was kind of their screw up, like, even if it's not our fault, we make them happy. And I will say this wasn't Wormwood's fault. This was, somebody else delivered the table. And, and they immediately, they apologized. They didn't even say, just so you know, it's not our people that did this. They're like, immediately came in, immediately wanted to fix it. And I even think I was like, and I totally understand. It's like, I'm more than happy to pay for like this new piece of wood. I know this isn't free. This is beautiful wood. I'll pay for this. But yeah, if you're willing to come in and like reinstall it. And they're like, oh no. And I'm like, but are you sure though? And they're like, it was I've never had a customer service experience like it before. And actually the only reason I felt comfortable asking Chris if I could tell this story here is because I did tell him later, I'm like, can I talk about this on my blog someday? And they were like, oh, we don't know. Like, I don't know if we want someone to know that maybe one of our tables showed up damaged. And I'm like, man, don't you realize how amazing you are? Because something can always go wrong. Something always will go wrong. And you can't control that. The thing that you control is how you respond. And I literally cannot think of a way you could have responded that was kinder, quicker, like more considerate. It was just, again, I at this point, I lack the words to express how impressed I have been with every element of what it is you guys do.
I remember hearing just kind of a follow-up point on that. So I used to work in hotels. That was my career before this. And I remember hearing that in the hospitality industry, you are more likely to get a loyal customer that had a problem and had the problem resolved really well than somebody who didn't have a problem at all and just had a great stay. Because like the person who saw a problem being resolved really well is impressed when something does go wrong and now trusts that you're going to take care of things when something does go wrong. And that's the kind of company that we want to be. And it's the kind of company I hope we can continue to be. We don't want people to ever think Wormwood and think bad experience, right? We want our customer service to be just as great as our craftsmanship. I think that's important to us.
And honestly, I've seen it in every bit of interaction. Like I love partnering with you in all of these things. In all the ways that we've done in the past and things I hope to do with you in the future. It's also the reason that I like talking about you and bringing you into the fundraiser, because it's not just that there's a cool thing that someone will get. I know that if I introduce my people or Worldbuilders people to you, I love my community, and these are good-hearted geeks who want to make the world a better place. and I'm proud of them, and I want them to get to know you, and I know that you'll take care of each other. And so like that's everything that I want. So to be clear, I really want to put a bow on this right now. If you donate to the World Builders end of year fundraiser, this is our first day. Right now we have matching money. So if you were to say kick in $120, which is enough for Heifer International to go and give a family the tools, training, and material, and provide them with a goat. And then the goat every day produces about a gallon of milk. That means the children, the entire family, every day it has calcium and protein regularly in their diet. They sell the extra milk. That means they have an income stream. And that means you have effectively given them a small business that will give birth to other small businesses. And it changes an entire family's existence forever. $120. I mean, that's a little money, but right now, if you do that, we have matching money, so it's doubled. The good you do in the world, it would already be significant, but right now it's doubled. And for every $10 you kick in, you get a chance to win these 3 tables, as well as thousands of other books and games and cool things. I'm doing a lot of Rothfuss specialized stretch goals and extra prizes here on my Twitch team page, which is where all these links go to. And so every $10 you kick in gets you a chance to win one of these 3 tables. I mean, if you donate $30, which is enough for honeybees, then you get 3 chances to win. You could win all 3. I mean, statistically, it's not very likely, but it is a possibility. And so if you want to make the world a better place, if you want to double up on the good you do, if you want to win some cool stuff, and also, as an added bonus, you'll feel real good. Like, it feels good to do good in the world, especially with so much crap going on. I don't know about y'all, but just day to day is pretty rough right now. Like, pandemic and fascism and just everything, like climate change and everything. But if you do this, like, kids will drink milk, you know? They get milk, and parents get to go to sleep not scared about how they're going to feed their kids. Like, $500 gets a community clean water. Like, a whole community clean water is something we take for granted. And you might say, oh, I don't have much money, whatever. Like, and not to get on you, but if you can watch this on a computer, you are among the 1% wealthiest people in the world. And like 60% of people in the world still cook their evening meal over an open fire every night because that's their only option. And so if you're like, oh, I don't really have very much, if you got $10, it can change someone's life for real. And I'm not bullshitting around. Changes it for real and changes it forever, because it's not like they're hucking a bag of rice at somebody and in a week they're going to be hungry again. Changes someone's life forever. So if you jump on in here, put down some money, get those good feels, and win an amazing table from Wormwood. The end. Fundraiser over. No, we're still going to be doing this for a while.
When do you typically announce winners for the World Builders end of year fundraiser?
At the very end. We don't announce winners because it's potentially a violation of privacy.
Or, I'm sorry, choose winners.
We draw winners at the very end after everyone's donated. And then we take a moment, we organize our spreadsheet, we wait for final donations to like clear through. You know what it's like. It's a little like a Kickstarter. Yeah. Also, some people like mail in checks and stuff. Folks are curmudgeonly like me, but it will happen. And also my team works like absolute crazed gibbons this entire fundraiser, and then
Sure.
Christmas comes.
Yeah.
So we tend to lay it down, take a breath, let everything roll in,
Yeah.
and then around January we pick winners, and then we start fulfilling. So,
Yeah, and if you don't win those tables, there's a place you can go to get one. So
Yep.
come check us out after all of the winners are drawn. You could always find us. We will have we haven't launched it yet, but we will be putting the tables on BackerKit, which is our pledge manager, where people can place pre-orders for our Kickstarter products. That will be up. Well, it will be up probably this month, but definitely after you guys have drawn winners, it'll be up. Also, if you're looking for last minute Christmas ideas, we have some great deals on wormwoodgaming.com right now regarding free shipping, regarding gift certificates for I think it's every $200 you get a $25 gift certificate.
Ooh.
So there's some great deals there. And last but not least, if you have not checked out Worm Life, if you don't know what that is, check that out on YouTube. Worm Life, WYRMLYFE. That is our company web series. Essentially, it's kind of a behind the scenes look at the personalities, problems, processes, pandemonium, whatever other P words you can come up with that happen at Wormwood. So it's very fun. It's getting more and more successful, and it's a really entertaining look at the company and what goes on behind the scenes there.
I've checked out parts of it and I love it. I love watching you guys do exercise your amazing craft.
We'll have to get you on Worm Life, Pat.
Oh, I'd love that. Absolutely. Tap me. But in January,
Yes.
I am so full until then.
I get that.
A bunch of people just stomped in and made donations. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. I also had somebody say something I got to read out loud, and it was somebody, I'm not finding it. She said, "I'm a single working mom, mother of 3, and I always find the time to donate." Oh, here we go. I'm a mother of 3. Oh, no. Mother of 3 going to college. And I try to donate at least $10 every year, usually when there's matching money. So just let me say, we got $100,000 worth of this matching money. If you want to get in on that, right now, come get that money. And also it's really great for the fundraiser, because if we have a really big first day, then we catch good press, and then more people find out about us, and then everything's awesome. So again, I've kept you longer than I said, Chris. Thank you so much for coming.
No worries. No, it's so good to be here, and I'll see the rest of you maybe in the Wormwood Twitch. We've got one of those too, so come join us one of these nights.
Yeah.
And Pat, thank you Worldbuilders for all the work that you guys do. It's really a great organization. We're so proud, and it's a joy to be a part of it. So thanks for having us again.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Take care.